Has the frustration finally kicked in at West Ham over the whole transfer saga in relation to Declan Rice and Arsenal, and potentially the inactivity, the lack of it, the lack of activity in the transfer market for West Ham? There's no ifs or buts about it that surely that West Ham are trying to make changes behind the scenes. We brought Tim Steinman in, in the technical director's role, working alongside Mark Noble, working alongside David Moyes. And the frustration will be that the fact that they cannot get this business done. It's all relying upon this deal going through between West Ham and Arsenal for our current captain, Declan Rice. Now, listen, I've said it too many a time. When the link happened, when Declan Rice was heading out the door, and he was going to Arsenal, I've struggled with it. I'll still struggle with it when I see him in that top. But essentially, as time has gone on and the deal hasn't taken place, it's become very clear that we need this deal to take place for us to move forward as a football club. People can get frustrated, as I have been in the past, about West Ham's financial situation, but we are forced through this financial situation because of the UEFA financial fair play rules. There's a video on it. I won't go over it again, but obviously there's differences between the UEFA rules and the Premier League rules. And in theory, we're being hampered by qualifying for Europe for the third season in a row. So it's a good thing that happens to the club, but then you get kind of disciplined for it because you have to follow their rules and regulations, and we can't spend until we sell. So this is just what it's like. And the frustration, I suppose, comes not last year, not the year before that, possibly the year before that, because we should have been building for an occasion like this moving forward. You'd think if you run a business, which a lot of you do if you are watching this, that you have a business plan, a clear business model that you want to follow, that you want to grow and provide growth and sustainability as you move forward through your career or business growth. And if you don't have contingency plans, if you don't have plans in place, then how do you know what your longevity, sustainability looks like as a business? You know, you've got to do your financial forecasting, and you've got to do up to 3-4 years financial forecasting. Now, I understand football can be very different. You can have 1 year where you can do a big run in a European competition and get more money coming in. But you're talking about a couple of traditional people that own our club, in particular David Sullivan. And, you know, the frustration for me isn't about this summer, isn't about last winter, and it isn't about the summer here. It's about the summers before, where we had the opportunities to buy, sell, work out our revenue. And if we want to grow as a club, then we have to understand what the rules and regulations are, that we need to be running a tighter ship when it comes to buying players and selling players. And when I say tighter ship, I mean, don't be going out and losing drastic amount of money like you did with Sebastian Haller. Don't go out and lose drastic amounts of money like you did with Felipe Anderson. Like, the desperation to sell those players for some fee could have, in theory, played a part in what's happened now. If you'd have held off for a larger fee or sat tight on the player and seen if they come good. We've done it for so many years, week in, year out, year in and year out, and it gets frustrating after a while. So that's where my frustration comes, and that frustration will come and will be felt within the squad, because no matter what, you need fresh faces. We brought in 8 fresh faces last season, but when you look through our squad, you can't help but think that there's definitely a tiresome element to it, you know, that we need a freshening up approach. And we're linked with left, right, and centre every single player you can possibly imagine. I think Russ is up to over 110 players that we're linked to. And I've put in the thumbnail there 2 particular players, Alex Scott from Bristol City, because we've seen over the past couple of days that, you know, Bournemouth have taken a keen interest in him and are bidding just over £15 million, which has been declined from Bristol City. And it looks like it's a bit of a steal for a player that has got the technical ability and the gift of football that he does, playing in the position he does, which is an area that would add value to our squad. No ifs or buts about it. But we're not going to pay 25 million for a player that's unproven in the Premier League. But what happens is, because we manage the situation the way we have, we're left with the situation where we can't go out and purchase the player, and we have to wait for the money to come in first. You kind of think to yourself, why were we not thinking about this beforehand? Why were we not preempting? You know, we were getting through the rounds of Europa Conference League. We were progressing through that, and we would then know that, you know, we've already known for a while, from a while ago, we were on a financial fair play list, that if we want to progress as a club, nobody could have anticipated we win the cup, but we did. But even at that, if you're in the quarterfinals or the round of 16, then you've got a good chance there. Knockout stages, and just got to play what comes in front of you. And for me, it's about better planning. That's what we need to do now. I feel like bringing in Tim Steiden is definitely a form of good planning. I don't doubt for 1 second once we receive money into our bank account, we'll start moving on some of the deals. I would assume we've made some preliminary talks already. Rumours are that we're talking with James Ward-Prowse, Alex Scott, potentially Harvey Barnes, just to name a few. I think we'll probably be looking at Jonathan Tah from Bayer Leverkusen with the connections we've got as well. I think he's a quality player, and we need to make a quick move on him, a bit of a unit back in defence. There's no ifs or buts about it. We need to bring in players in that area. So the frustration will be getting felt. Don't you worry about that, but have faith in the process. Now, the thing you can do now is sometimes forget about looking backwards and start to move forward. How do you move forward from here? So bringing in the technical director is a good move. There's no ifs or buts about it. People will go, well, how can you bring in a technical director who's doing nothing? Well, the hands are tied, but you hope that they're not doing nothing behind the scenes. You hope they've got all their targets lined up. I see some stuff, people saying they don't know who they want. I don't believe that for any sense at all. Practicalities means that doesn't make sense. They'll have a list of players that they're interested in. It's just whether or not they think those targets are realistic, or they'll come to the club. I also think they'll have an indication of what player potentially would be open to coming to West Ham. So I don't think they would pursue people like Harvey Barnes if he wasn't interested in coming to West Ham. I think they'd pursue people like Alex Scott if these are genuine interested parties. If they were not interested in coming to the club, it's a little bit like the Declan Rice situation when you reverse the roles. Would Arsenal have pushed the boat out to bring Declan Rice in if he had not shown any form of interest in going to the club? No, it wouldn't have happened. So you've got to put the faith in the system. We need this money to happen. Hopefully this will happen sooner rather than later, and then we'll start to make moves in the market. One thing for sure is I want that move to make those moves need to happen now, like very, very soon. We are a month, 5 weeks away from the Premier League season starting. We're starting to play preseason games. We're away in Australia on the tour, so bedding into the squad is key. What an opportunity to do it. What an opportunity it would have been to do it as well. Something else to think of is that having Skamaka in your ranks will feel a little bit like a new player because he never had the real opportunity to really flourish last season. Flynn Downs maybe getting a bit more of an opportunity. We brought him in. David Moyes' system always shows that it's the second season that the players start to progress. So you may find that Flynn Downs may get a run out in the team, depending if we don't or do bring in different players as well. But either way, we need to bring in new players. There's no ifs or buts about it. Polinia, James Ward-Prowse, Alex Scott, Jonathan Tah, Harvey Barnes, just to name a few players that we've been linked to. And that's just a small list of players, but I want them in ASAP. That's a big key element. And then we can start to remove that frustration, because then when you look at the squad, you start to see strength and depth, but also at a younger age as well. We've got an aging group here, and we need to bring that average age down quite dramatically. And you would hope that Tim would be looking at doing that. I get it. Half glass full, Anton. West Ham Network, half glass full. Fully understand that. But I do see the vision. Whether that's under David Moyes for the future, I don't know. But I think bringing in someone like Tim and having Mark Noble in the ranks keeps that definitive, approach moving forward. And if David Moyes does progress the club once more again this season, then who knows what happens moving forward. But either way, there's changes ahead. We've got big players leaving the club, i.e. Declan Rice, captain. Have to find a new captain. We're going to have a big transition, a big transition in style of play. I don't foresee West Ham starting the season in a similar format to how we ended the season in the Premier League. I think we'll have a bit more flamboyancy. I think we'll have a bit more excitement. I think the play will look better. I think we have no choice but to do that. To be honest with you, I think we have to do that, because he does straight away. You don't want the fans on your back. But equally, though, it is a results game and you need to get results over the line. So frustration is building, but it's about remaining calm, getting this deal done with Declan Rice. We're all going to hate it when he wears Arsenal top, but we'll move on. And because no player is bigger than the club, of course. And then we start to move on targets and get those targets in as soon as possible. A couple of players I'd like us to move on very quickly, if we possibly could be, would be Jonathan Tah, Alex Scott, and Harvey Barnes would be the top three first signings I'd like West Ham to move on quickly, just to bring them in the door, get the freshness, the youthfulness back into the squad. That would be amazing and would be a push in the right direction for us. Leave a comment, let us know your thoughts on what I've said. Hit the thumbs up if you're interested as well. If you're interested in becoming a subscriber, hit the subscribe button. If you're interested in becoming a channel member, look at the membership program as well. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. And of course, come on, you beautiful, beautiful